And when we talk about getting the most out of your investment, that's where we talk about our managed services and how we from Choice Solutions can help take a lot of that day-to-day maintenance and kind of the operations off of you to allow you to focus on your strategic stuff. So Liam, I'll let you talk about kind of some of the this ways that you and your team help with that.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Benjamin. So I think that it's was shown earlier all the Nutanix certifications we have under the Choice umbrella. And when you come to a managed service provider like us, you get the ability to utilize that knowledge, and it's right there next to you. So whether it's a partnership where we're augmenting as a managed service provider your current infrastructure uh, engineers, or you've lost your engineers and you need someone to just manage the entire Nutanix platform. With that managed service contract, you get the access to all that knowledge, and whether it's a managed services dedicated engineer, or on occasion when we bring in our professional services team like Benjamin to help us get through things. That's where we bring in that expertise and help you. And the other portions of that is it we are a 24/7 shop, and a lot of times when customers already have engineering staff, they do maintenance windows over the weekends or overnight, and by the time the next day comes around, there might be an issue, and instead of getting a fresh engineer, you're working with someone that maybe had 1 or 2 hours of sleep after doing a maintenance window. Having a managed service team behind you, focused on your Nutanix infrastructure, allows those engineers to get a good night's sleep, get called only if there is an issue that needs their attention, and then they wake up, and the next day, if there's other issues, there you have a fresh engineer at your fingertips instead of someone really tired. The other portion of that is that we are watching those alerts and errors. There's errors on drives, or there's errors with any portion of the Nutanix experience. We're watching that 24/7 and proactively going out and investigating, ensuring everything is copacetic. And if it's not, contacting you, telling you what the situation is, fixing it. If it can be fixed without any interruptions to the customer, to you as a customer, then we go ahead and perform the action and fix the issue. If it's going to take some downtime, we coordinate that with a standard change management process that everybody's used to. And the cost effective portion of that is that we know how it is when you're trying to get your engineers all the way certified, and or there's churn. There's a ton of cost that goes into making sure that they're up to date on their certs, and if they go away, getting someone else and getting them trained. The nice thing about managed services is that it is a predictable cost. We handle the churn if there's churn employees. We have the documentation. We have backup for when there is people gone, and it's a straight cost for that. And that's really the biggest reasons why you'd want to have either full-time managed services taking care of the uh, whole stack 24/7, 365, or augmenting current engineers that are already taking care of it. But there's only one or two, and they can't handle the 24/7, 365, all the issues all the time. This one's yours, right?
Yeah. So, you know, when you replatform to Nutanix, Dana mentioned, certainly Broadcom, we're seeing a ton of interest in what what does something outside of the traditional VMware paradigm look like? There's a lot of risk and there's a lot of, soft IT cost that goes into that, as well as obviously, hey, I'm going to save by not having to pay Broadcom, 3x what I did before. But you save that on the upfront, but now you do have some costs around, hey, I actually have to start migrating some data and replatforming this and putting, what I had from my VMware environment onto Nutanix environment. And I do need to put some cost into training that admin staff that I've got. So by using managed services, we've already done that. So we've already got the processes, the procedures, and we've got the staffing in place. So it allows you to avoid having to say, all right, I've got to get this admin and have them go to a class for a week to get trained up. And in the meantime, then I've got my other admin who's essentially pulling double duty at that point in time. And then maybe in a month's time frame, I'm going to flip flop. So you get to really pull that back and leverage the investment that we've already made. And then, the amount of scale that we've been able to get by, having been so invested in the Nutanix solution for so long, we've built out a really large bench of folks that are just ingrained with it and know it. And then, you can take your time as you get your team up to speed and what it's going to take for some of the day-to-day operations, maybe some of the specialized operations that are very business specific, but allows you to focus on that. So allows you to, take the, what you have and focus on what is the next thing that's going to be coming down the pike for the business. So now that I don't have, my two admins, my three admins that are sitting there figuring out, all right, here's how I do this piece, or here's how I deploy this part of infrastructure. That part's taken care of. Now they can go meet with your business units and say, all right, what are the things that are coming down the pike for you that are challenges? What are, some of the new applications you're going to have? What are some of the new processes or the new services that we're going to be delivering to our external customers? And how can we as the IT enable that? So by getting ahead of that, it's not oh, hey, by the way, we've got this application that we're going to deploy and it's going to go live in a week. And now we're scrambling to figure out how to do that. We can start having those conversations ahead of time. So
And
go ahead.
sorry, yeah, and in that line, we when we have our customers in calls monthly and quarterly to talk about what's coming up, when you're able to refocus your IT engineers to proactive business needs, they have the ability to translate some of the business infrastructure issues to the engineers that are taking care of the back end. So you get kind of the best of both worlds if you have the ability to refocus those IT engineers on the applications that actually bring in your business. Yes, the Nutanix and networking and all the other things is a base. It's kind of the foundation that all these applications run on, but they usually run and they run well. And instead of having people focused all on that, you have the ability to relocate some of those cycles to interface better with your business application folks.
Absolutely.
So,
So why don't we dive into one of our customers and how we help them out by, they transitioned to Nutanix. They've been a longtime customer with ours. So Liam, I'll let you kind of talk about who they are, what challenges they had, and how we were able to help them.
yeah, similar to a lot of people are looking at transitioning and replatforming because of the VMware acquisition, or they're trying to figure out how do they get into the cloud. This customer in 2014 came to us and they had an aging 3-tier environment, and they were needing some support and going to that next level. Do they stay with 3-tier? Do they look at a hyperconverged like a Nutanix? And when they came to us, they came to us because they had experience with us in other environments, and the expertise of our engineers and the trust in our account managers that they had worked in the past, and they understood that when they weren't just selling something on the engineer, or as far as trying to just make a sale, they were partnered with them, and so they had a trust in uh, in our team that was in front of them. And when we came to them and said, "Hey, this Nutanix thing is probably the place you want to go," and gave them the story about how you're going to take away a lot of uh, the complexities of the new environment and transition. One of the fears there was, well, it's a whole new platform. How are we going to be able to transition, understand the technology, be able to be an expert? And that's where we came in with that managed service offering. As you can see, been with us as a managed service, Nutanix managed service partner since 2014, and we continue to support this customer throughout those years, through the high times, and there's been some low times, but we've been able to partner with them and work with them throughout that period with updates and upgrades. And they the the solution they have is an active solution to two data centers and disparate locations, both of them on at the same time. They have them geo located, so if you're from one part of the state, they go to one data center. If you're from another place, you go to a different data center, and then there's a failover through the EUC environment, that if one system goes down, the other one is available. So it's an active solution, and it's there's not only some application magic that makes that happen, but there's also some Nutanix magic in there that allows for that those two environments to stay active and have the same experience on one side as you do on the other. So the solution, of course, was a Nutanix solution, and we came in with our managed service team and partnered with their infrastructure team to allow for that to be a great solution for them.
Yeah, I think one of the things there, a couple of things that actually that you mentioned is, certainly we're not in the business of just saying, here's the solution, take it. Dana mentioned that, there's a lot of resellers in the market that will absolutely help you buy technology. But one of the things that we love to do, both, on my side from a professional services where I'm helping with the initial deployment, as well as Liam's team managing that on an ongoing, is that we want to have that ongoing trust relationship so that we understand not just the technology, but we understand how you're leveraging it. We understand your business processes, your business needs, so that we can help make informed recommendations around here's what might work better for you, or actually you may not need that, like, or at least you may not need it now. So let's focus on this part that is kind of the burning fire right now, and we'll get to that. But obviously a relationship that's going on now a decade really allows us to have that intimate knowledge of what they do. So it's not just a, hey, it's time to update it. It's, all right, we're coming up to a refresh. Is everything still the same? What's happening in this part of the business, and do we need to adjust? Are there things that, up, down, sideways that we need to do to make sure that we're still driving value within the business, as well as if there are things that we can help offload to, again, leverage the expertise that we have, that may be new things that their admin team isn't up to speed on just yet. So we can help take that on too, so that they can, again, continue to focus on delivering value within their business.
One of the advantages that I get to brag about all the time is having Choice Solutions as a partner, having both managed services and professional service project management team associated, is that the managed service team can focus on the interrupt drivenness of day-to-day activity and day-to-day maintenance and the ongoing life cycle of the current solution. And then when it comes to new projects, whether it be updates, upgrades, and that sort of thing, we get to bring in this whole other group that's totally focused on projects so that they can work with your engineers and application teams at a project level. So day to day continues to happen. We have a whole team that's just focused on that. We have a, a SME, a subject matter expert that knows you, knows your day to day, meets with you daily and weekly in the trenches. And then we have a technical account manager that works with you for just the umbrella of managed services. And so that day to day interrupt driven process, a lot of you out there have the same people doing the interrupt driven ticket here, trouble here, P1 here, P2 here, also doing your projects. And it just creates a timeline that continuously extends past the due date because other priorities come up. By having both a managed services and a professional team that have that wealth of experience, we get to come in and say, okay, you got a new project. We got someone totally focused and dedicated to you. We have a professional, a PMO team that's going to ensure the project's coming in on time and on budget or under budget, and communicates to you at a project level and does it at a project time. At the exact same time that we have a whole other team that's managing your day-to-day operation. And in those projects where we have both the managed service and professional going at the same time, the SME also on the managed services side gets to communicate directly with the engineers that are doing your projects so that they understand the needs, so that there's no loss of translation between company needs, day-to-day operations, and the project. And then at the end of the project, when the new stuff becomes operational, it's a smooth handoff. It's documented and it's ready to go, and it's without missing a beat.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, you touched on a really good point there. I mean, and I've been in this situation where I've been engaged to work with a customer that, you know, and a lot of times, you know, I'm coming in and I'm just working with a customer and there's a project ahead of me. And then I find out, okay, they're a managed services customer. I love that because I know that I can reach out to somebody on Liam's team and say, all right, give me, you know, what you experience from a day-to-day perspective so I have that context when I go into it. Or if I run into a hiccup or something that doesn't make sense from a project perspective, I can reach out to them and they can say, yeah, I know that might seem a little unusual. However, here's the business process that's enabling or necessitated us to do that for right now. And we've already got a plan in place, and I can say, all right, cool. So I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to address that. You've already gotten taken care of. And now I'm back on the project, which, as Liam mentioned, allows us to better come in either at budget or under budget because we have our focus on those things.
Great.
Liam, there anything else from this customer that we need to touch on? Or, you know, obviously they're long-term customer of ours, they've been through multiple refresh cycles. If they've been with us for a decade, multiple refresh cycles of Nutanix, and continue to leverage that and see value within their business, correct?
That is correct.
Fantastic. That's what we love to see. So we love to see, you know, being able to drive our, you know, business value currently, and then also helping them figure out what's the next step that we need to get to. Because obviously, you know, public cloud is something that's not going away. A lot of customers are trying to out there figuring out how do we use this? How do we best leverage it? And there's, you know, there's stories left and right where organizations say we're cloud first and we just throw stuff in Azure. I can tell you from experience, I've been involved with a large organization that said we're cloud first. They meant cloud only, and when they meant cloud only, they meant Azure only. And you know that works really well at a C level, and being able to drive that strategic vision. But at an operational level, that can become very challenging. And what does it mean to be cloud first? The Nutanix solution says, all right, we'll take away some of that complexity and having to redo everything to make it fit into, you know, Azure's operating model. Or, you know, Azure may have something that doesn't quite fit the bill. We need something over on AWS. All right, well, how do we manage that between what we've got in Azure already? Now we need to go over to AWS. We still have this stuff that's on-prem that that's not going away anytime soon. Nutanix solution says, all right, let's step in. You deploy on the Nutanix platform, and we can deploy that into AWS. We can deploy that into Azure, and then you have a single point of management and single processes, procedures, and support protocols for all of those. So taking Nutanix and putting that out into, say, an Azure so that you can run that exact same infrastructure that you're used to on premises, and you can put that into Azure, whether that be for bursting capabilities. Say you may have, a quarter within the year where this is our really big time. Tax companies, that first quarter of the year, they're going crazy. They don't necessarily want to buy infrastructure for the entire year when they've got 3.5, 4 months where they're going like gangbusters, and then the rest of the year is just kind of steady state. So this is something that allows you to take what you have, that consistent investment, you continue to put that on premises, extend that out into Azure on an as needed basis. DR is another really good solution. So you don't have to have two data centers or have a data center where we've got a bunch of things deployed that are just sitting there not being used. We can extend a portion out into Azure, and we can back up out there and leverage the scale and the investment that Microsoft has already had, and we can just kind of rent those resources to use. But again, we don't have to change our operating model. So, wherever you are, there is something that can be leveraged from Nutanix, as well as our services around that. So it could be on-prem, it could be, edge resources, robo locations, small manufacturing locations that are like, hey, we have a footprint that we need there. How do we do that without going crazy? And how do we do that so that that's not a one-off solution? Or, as we talk about, going into the public cloud, we can help you with that, and we can wrap our ongoing services. So from an operational model, you don't have to, take on as much of that burden.